Vallejo, California. Sports fans worldwide. It's time for the Fitz Blitz on 89.5 FM, KZCT Vallejo. Little tinny. This week on the Blitz, I know, Steven, you feel like we got a lot to cover?
Oh, absolutely. Can't wait.
A lot to cover here on this Fitz Blitz. Timmy Fitz, Stephen Babb bringing you the Blitz here on OzCat Radio. We've got to talk about a Colin Kaepernick audible.
Yes, very audible was Colin Kaepernick.
I'm going to talk about a Kaepernick audible. We'll talk about the Niners and Raiders results on the field. We'll talk about another baseball scandal.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think we got a baseball scandal to talk about too. All that and more coming up on the Blitz. Let's do this. Good afternoon, Vallejo. Timmy Fitz bringing you the Blitz. Here with Stephen Babb. Be sure to hit me up on Twitter at TimmyFitz76, thefitzblitz.com for archived segments of shows, and of course, the Fitz Blitz Facebook page that you're probably watching right now if you're watching on the video. And be sure to hit up Stephen Babb on Twitter too.
BABBSPORTS. Babb Sports.
Babb Sports. So we mentioned a Kaepernick audible. And he saw some things from the defense he didn't like.
He absolutely did. And, I might have to throw a penalty flag after some of the things that have been coming out on the defense there.
Yeah, definitely some unsportsmanlike conduct, perhaps.
Possibly.
Involved for his opponent. His opponent being the NFL.
Yes.
And there's just such this layer of mistrust between the two already that it's going to be hard for them to really get on the same page again. It's like an ex, just having so much bad history that even if it was something innocuous like, oh, okay, well, if you're there on time, I'll be there on time. No, I was just saying that the traffic might be bad. There's just too much built up
It's like you
stuff.
It's like you get that kind of, can we reconnect date with an old ex? And you just make her pay the bill and you get up and walk out. That's like, it was just such bad blood going into it that I honestly didn't, what was going to happen for Cap? Was he going to step in, make a few good throws, and sign a contract on his way to the parking lot?
No.
Never.
No. That's the other weird thing. There's plenty of video out there on Colin Kaepernick in the NFL.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Playing quarterback at a starter's level. I guess they wanted to, the point of a tryout for a guy like him, a workout, is to see if he's still got it. But there's nothing in a t-shirts and shorts workout, really, that you could gather about Colin Kaepernick you didn't know already.
Yeah, RossTuckerRadio.com, NFL Insider last week brought up something really interesting, kind of even going into the weekend, saying that teams usually contact the player's agent and representatives for a workout. Mm-hmm. But this was set up by the NFL, and teams and team reps were contacting the NFL directly to try to set this up. You just went through a collusion scandal.
Yeah.
Like, that just screams collusion.
Yeah. And I think here's the NFL's motivation, is I try to get inside their PR machine that they are, inside their heads a bit. They realize they're months to years behind on this.
Yes.
Okay, look, this is a PR nightmare for us. We got to do something. It's not going away. We thought it would go away when he went away, and the settlement from his collusion case, it's not going away. Nothing's going away. So they said, okay, well, let's have this tryout on a Saturday. And I think a lot of the teams didn't want to take that heat of, the Dolphins are bringing in Cap for a workout. Oh, the Seattle's bringing in Cap for a workout. Carolina, whoever, Pittsburgh didn't want that attention on them, and they could seem, it's a league thing that we all went to.
Yeah, and it's either you're going to do it or you're not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to take heat, you're not going to take heat. And that was also something I read over the weekend, was about the demographics of the 8 teams that actually did show up versus the other teams that didn't. So the demographics of, what state do you represent, like where you're in, what do your fans do, because that could fall into, like you're saying, the heat that you would take for bringing in a controversial guy like Colin Kaepernick. 8 teams showed up.
Yeah.
Only 8 teams. And I honestly, going into the weekend, didn't think it was really about him getting a chance to play, because I honestly don't really know if he even wants to play in the NFL anymore. But this puts a microphone in front of his face for him to speak, and he did.
And I think that was the weird part about it. If you go through this timeline of the setup with Kaepernick, it's Kaepernick Cap was told about this tryout on pretty short notice, and it was occurring on a Saturday instead of Tuesdays when workouts happen. Saturday, scouts and front office people are scouting college football. Yeah, that's how it works. They're looking for their next crop of rookies. Tuesdays, everybody's usually had that Monday off. They get back to business on Tuesday. Light workouts that day. That's when you bring in prospective players you're thinking about signing, a fill-in kicker, etc. Things like that. So Saturday tryout, no guarantee high-level personnel would be there. Kaepernick's team in the NFL had not spoken since February, since that settlement on he and Eric Reid's collusion case. So then this sudden Saturday workout, there's plenty of mistrust that has not been smoothed over between then and now.
Yeah, absolutely.
The NFL told Kaepernick there would be no media access to the workout. Here's big called strike one, I think, for Kaepernick's team. There was already... maybe strike one is already the short notice happening on a Saturday. We'll call that strike one. So we're already into strike two right here. No media access. And then Kaepernick arrived in Atlanta Thursday, told they weren't sure who his receivers would be. He wasn't really feeling that, so he flies in his own, one of them being former Raider Bryce Butler. On Friday, in addition to having no media access, the NFL told Kaepernick's team that he would be prohibited from filming the workout, thus leaving the NFL as the only entity with access to the video that would be sent to the NFL.
Which is just extremely strange.
Yes.
We as a society, and me super guilty of this, and hi to everybody watching on Facebook Live, we film ourselves do everything. Some people out there probably film things they shouldn't do.
Can't eat our own food without taking a picture.
Goodness. Literally guilty as charged. I can't even plead the fifth.
So that Kaepernick didn't like. That was especially a problem for him, because he didn't trust that the footage the league would send out would be flattering. That's how bad their distrust levels are. Of the 60 throws Kaepernick had in this, in his mind, in his team's mind, they're worried, are they even going to send the best of this video to teams? They didn't trust them to do that.
And honestly, one of the clips I did see was a wobbly pass downfield that the receiver had to slow up and catch because there was nothing on it.
The one I saw was a 70-yard bomb that somebody had to even extend for. So, again, who's sending out which clip? Which network is that on? That sort of thing. So then Kaepernick was asked to sign a waiver that he would not sue the NFL in the event no team signed him from the workout. Kaepernick's team countered with just your standard, we're not liable if you get hurt during the workout form. The issue remained unsolved, so Saturday's workout was in jeopardy, and thus it got moved. The NFL refused to allow Kaepernick to film his own workout, media access, and didn't budge from this waiver they wanted him to fill out. So around the late morning, Kaepernick asked his team to consider holding their own workout. So by 2:30, the NFL rejects Kaepernick's request on Saturday. The NFL workout collapses, and Kaepernick's team hosts its own workout just down the road, Charles Drew High School in Riverdale. 6 teams attended. It was supposed to be 24 at the NFL's workout. And of course, all hell breaks loose on each side of the argument from there.
So I was really excited to wake up early yesterday morning. I didn't have to work on a Sunday for the first time in a while. Plus, both of the Bay Area teams are playing on Sunday. So I get up and I watch NFL on Fox early. And they made it seem like Kaepernick moved this. And it was Kaepernick's decision to move the workout, and never said once that the NFL that he was having these problems with the waiver and anything. The waiver
Yeah.
wasn't even mentioned in the preview show
No.
for Fox NFL Sunday. That's a problem. That's you're reporting half of the story, and you're only reporting not even an accurate half of the story,
Right.
saying that it was up to Colin Kaepernick. And did you hear any information about this waiver?
Only via Twitter and some of these timelines I'm quoting right now. Certainly not from the pregame shows.
Yeah, so going to Twitter, Xavier Pope from Pro Football Talk and NBC Sports, basically the waiver was going to exonerate the NFL, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
from anything that Cap could do moving forward. And it's the unacceptable conclusion from the assertion made by Kaepernick's lawyer and Kaepernick's agent that the NFL demanded that he signed a broad waiver, including a waiver of potential employment claims, according to Pope. And let that sink in, as I'm still quoting the article here. The league, under the guise of acting out of the goodness of its own heart and or to assuage the guilt of the 32 months Kaepernick being wrongfully denied an opportunity, set up a workout for all teams, even though any team could work him out at any time. And then, as he showed up for it, asked him to sign a waiver that not only protected the league and the Falcons against a torn ACL or some other injury that could have happened during the workout, but also exonerated the league of any and all responsibility for the violations of his rights that may have occurred since the grievance was settled in February.
It almost makes you feel like the whole thing was set up to get him to sign that waiver.
Absolutely.
Just to get him in the room. And you mentioned the way Fox covered it. I, of course, watching the Raiders, the CBS coverage, I'm seeing that, and then I see the Sunday night coverage on NBC as well. And it's all what you'd expect. They all function as mouthpieces for the NFL.
Yes.
They all have contracts to broadcast the NFL's games, and they do not want to endanger that. It's that simple. No league that broadcasts, or no network that broadcasts the NFL's games would slam the NFL on this, criticize them in any way, shape, or form, or see Kaepernick's side of it. Really, just at best, Nate Burleson, one of two African Americans, the former player on the panel of the CBS crew, was the one who could see it from his side a little bit. That was really it.
Yeah, it was. And it's gone on for so long and in such a way that you almost kind of wonder, do they even care anymore?
Okay.
And I don't really think they do. And I think that plays a big part into Kaepernick's post-workout, grabbing that microphone and letting it fly.
Yeah.
And saying, the NFL needs to stop running from the truth. This is not going away, and this is always going to be here.
Yeah.
And it's always a problem. And even now, by doing all of this, the NFL is really proving Kaepernick's point and proving his case completely. And I honestly think they just blatantly don't even care anymore.
No, they're more than happy to stay in their good old boy network that the NFL is, and they definitely don't want to upset their network's need to cover the NFL, that access. Phil Simms, pretty cold take on it, and there were a lot of that of, does he really want to play? Even Tony Dungy at night, in the night game, was questioning, whether or not he wanted to play, if he wanted to be in the meeting room and commit to this, even though he was voted by his teammates in his last season to be, the most dedicated player that in that bunch. It was a lot of that. It was a lot of, Kaepernick had this opportunity and he blew it. The questioning is whether or not he wants to be in the league, and painting the league as the victim in this situation. They're trying hard, and he moved. He had a chance to be seen, and then he moved it, and it was all put the blame on Kaepernick for the way this went down.
It was, and from the beginning, this has never been about Kaepernick in a meeting room, in the locker room, on the field. It's never been that. I mean, this man played in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that long ago that, mobile quarterback, athletic, team started to figure him out a little bit. Mm-hmm. I put a lot of that more on coaching. Sure. And not coaching him up because of the success that he was having early, and not helping him fine-tune some things.
And maybe being ahead of his time. You see how these guys now, where there's a lot more of them.
Yeah, and look at what Lamar Jackson is doing with, surprise, surprise, Kaepernick's old offensive coordinator, Greg Roman.
Yeah.
And, he's taken the league by storm this season. And that, could open the door for Kaepernick, you would think. And me going into this, it's like seeing all this kind of stuff go down. Like, part of me kind of did want to be optimistic about it.
Gotcha.
But I've seen too much from this NFL to have any kind of clear cut. This is going to be an actual workout tryout for anybody.
Yeah. Let's hear some cold takes, shall we? So here's Nate Burleson, and he's the one who at least had some points here.
He wanted to control the narrative of this workout, which is why it went from the bigger one to the smaller one at the high school. Now, if he is going to play again, which I don't know if that's going to happen, there has to be compromise. Not compromise of your integrity, what you believe in, but just contractually on both sides. Cap, in the league.
You know, I don't think there's going to be, excuse me, one
in the league.
You know, I don't think there's going to be, excuse me, one team in the league that's going to want to
Clear
do this
throat,
fiasco. That's the reality of it. Colin said yesterday, I've been ready for 3 years and I've been denied for 3 years. I say get ready for another lawsuit, and I think this shakedown is going to continue. I think he's going to push the limits with the league, and he's going to force the league to pay him yet another sum of money here sooner or later.
You know, I sat there and said, why is he having this now? It's week 11. It's about the platform. If it was about football and football was important to him, why did he not have his workout in these last 2 off seasons where he had a chance to sit down with every team, go into a camp, learn a system, and fight for a starting job? I applaud his issue and initiative on social justice. But when you hear him, I want to hear him. Haven't not heard him talk in 2.5 years. All I heard was I was attacked. I was victimized. I feel entitled. Victimized. I feel entitled. He never mentioned football. This is an individual right now that playing football to me in the National Football League or being in the National Football League, it's a privilege. It's not like football. It's not important to him. He loves the platform.
Okay, so the coldest take there at the end, certainly coming from Coach Cowher. I thought you heard from Phil Simms. I heard his son later be just as cold in his take, and Dungy surprisingly so later on. This is, I mean, really, Cowher talking about why his workout. Why didn't have his workout at a different time? Like, you have clearly not been paying attention to this.
That every take there sound insanely uninformed.
Yeah.
And like you're cashing checks that are related to the NFL.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, it's kind of like a jury made up of everybody that you're going against, or like you're prosecuting a defendant, but the jury is every one of the defendant's friends.
Yes, exactly.
Let me get that analogy straight.
Where do things go from here, Stephen? What is it? Do you think there's more litigation coming, as Sims suggested? Is there some sort of compromise that can be found, like Burleson suggested?
You know, and Sims saying a shakedown.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Oh my gosh. Like that is horrible. Mm-hmm. Horrible. That's all I can say about that. I mean, Phil Simms has been around for 2 generations now.
Yeah.
But it's maybe last week, remember when we were talking about it's time to hang some stuff up. You just stick your foot in your mouth one too many times. This could be strike one for Phil Simms.
Yeah.
Because calling that a shakedown is going to get backlash. And it's not going to be well received by a lot of NFL fans out there. And let's be honest, it's going to be well received by some of them because they agree. But there's a lot of players and fans that are going to be upset when they hear that he's calling this a shakedown of the league. When it's not about money.
No.
It never has been about money. And talking about why can't it just be about football? Because it's not about football.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with Colin Kaepernick's ability to play the game in the NFL. It's got to do with everything off the field.
Otherwise, he'd be somebody's backup quarterback at least right now.
At least. I mean, look what's going on in Chicago.
Yeah.
You tell me he can't start for the Bears tomorrow?
A team that had playoff aspirations. I get you drafted some guy and you want to see what you got. I get it. But then eventually, you see what you got. And you can tell if it's not good pretty soon.
Yeah.
Usually. At least I can. And I get that, even Pittsburgh, all right, they got a 3rd, 4th rounder that they want to play. Carolina's the one that puzzles me.
Yes.
And then they've done okay with the fill-in, the undrafted kid out of Houston. And, that's okay. But they should have had him as their backup a while ago. All these teams with starters like Kaepernick, that then if that starter goes down, they're having to completely change what they do for the backup, are the teams that have puzzled me the most. I get you're tanking. Fine, you're the Jets. You're tanking. You're the Browns a couple of years ago. You had your eyes on a rookie, a Baker Mayfield type or something like that. I get, you put a draft pick into Trubinsky. Okay, I get it. You want to see what you got, but eventually, you see it. You see what you got, and those are the ones that puzzle me. Carolina, Seattle, Baltimore now or before, Miami if they weren't tanking. A lot of teams that do fit that profile that should have had him at worst as their backup if something happened to their similar styled starter that are now non-competitive because they didn't prep for this. Your Chicago's, your Carolinas, really.
Yeah, and we mentioned Greg Roman and Lamar Jackson in Baltimore before.
Mm-hmm.
How perfect of a fit would that be?
Mm-hmm.
That would be
right.
insane.
If something went wrong, if Lamar hits his foot or something,
he's young.
Yeah,
you don't know. Really don't know what you have.
Yeah.
It's his first his first go round.
Yeah.
If he gets hurt, even for a week,
right.
You're just gonna throw that game away?
Right.
No, you would want somebody that you can plug in. And I mean, we've seen what Greg Roman and Colin Kaepernick can do together.
Yeah. Everybody complains about the distraction factor, including former Jets head coach Rob Ryan, and or pardon me, which Ryan brother is it again?
I always thought they were the same guy.
Yeah. Okay, that's probably true too. Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan, a guy who signed Richie Incognito and Michael Vick before. Complained, he felt the distraction factor would be too much from Colin Kaepernick. And that's the thing. It's like, okay, I get even in a football perspective of, well, we don't want to bring in a guy who may start a quarterback controversy because he's that good, and we want to give our rookie a shot. We don't want some veteran over his shoulder creating a looming shadow of a quarterback controversy. I kind of get that side a little bit.
I can see that.
But there are certain situations where even that's not applicable.
Yeah.
So those are the ones that are still puzzling that apparently are never going to be solved. Unless these two can come back to this again, or these teams finally grow some pairs and are willing to work him out themselves and not be worried about the PR flack. This country is getting further and further divided into our stereotypes of what one side thinks they're supposed to think about something and the other side how they're supposed to think about it, versus finding the nuance and the balance in between. And the NFL is just a prime example of that right now.
I don't think that they could have handled this any worse. I mean, all the way from top to bottom, from when he initially, a few years ago, preseason, was sitting, and he actually consulted, and we've been all through this, but he actually consulted a retired, I forget what he was. It's been so long. I don't forget. He's Navy SEAL. I don't forget who he was. But he's retired military.
Right.
He consulted what
him.
would be a respectful way for me to show and demonstrate. And he said, sitting is not the way.
Mm-hmm.
Kneel.
Yeah.
It's a sign of respect, and it's something, this would be my advice.
Yeah.
But that
been still didn't quell anything.
So lost and so diluted, and his entire point has always been lost among those that don't want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And the NFL obviously doesn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
Because they could have handled all of this. They could have made a statement. He's not being disrespectful. We don't find this disrespectful.
Yeah.
But they don't care about the issues he's raising.
No, that's the main thing.
That's the main thing. They don't care. So
they
instead of getting out ahead of it and ahead of the backlash and supporting one of their, let's face it, he's an employee of the NFL.
Right.
Instead of getting out there and helping him and backing one of your own, they let the backlash happen because they honestly just don't care.
No, it's not an issue that concerns them. It certainly doesn't. The people who own these teams certainly tend to lean more conservatively. And
they fall conservatively.
Yes. And, I think that comes with it. But let's talk action on the field.
On the field.
Let's talk about these current 49ers and their quarterback, who did complete, what was he yesterday? 424 of them with 76 completion percent from Garoppolo.
Yeah, he was 34 for 45 for
Yeah.
424 yards, 4 TDs, and 2 INTs.
And the 2 INTs, right.
Which, one of them, on my Twitter yesterday, I posted a slow motion video of a blitz off the corner from a cornerback on his throwing arm side. He's getting pressure up the middle. The inside linebacker puts his big old meat hook straight up in the air, and Jimmy happens to throw it a little high, a little behind the receiver.
Yeah, yeah.
He's getting hit. There's arms in his way. He changes his arm angle to throw, and okay,
Yeah.
it's still off the back of the tight end's hand, and it flip, and then someone dives and catches it. Oh, Jimmy threw another interception. Get lost.
Yeah, maybe eat it in that situation, but it is a pressure-created sack versus a bad throw.
Yeah.
Well, so we'll give him that.
Yeah.
So 424 of them. His best games are against these Arizona Cardinals. That is, when you look at the game log, that does seem to keep happening. But, luckily we get to jump right into this one because the last game was the Monday night game, so we don't even need to talk about that loss to Seattle.
I was kind of hoping you didn't bring it up today, but I went back through and I was listening to some clips from our show last Monday, and you and I sat here and we were talking about the kicker.
Yeah.
And about how we don't want it to come down to a field goal.
Yeah.
And a field goal would have won the game, and instead it ended up in the hallway back heading to the locker rooms. And that was crushing.
Yeah. Which was a shame. You're asking this backup who did hit a 43-yarder to send it to overtime to begin with.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, step one, rookie, good job. But all the stoppages in between the kicks, that's why those teams do that.
Yes.
Use their timeouts there, make the kid think about it for a while, and it did bite him. But it's just kind of what it was. There was a lot of things that played out, like were the warning signs that we talked about for the Niners that did happen. I was like, well, they're coming down to the kick, things involving... avoiding the big splash play from the Seattle defense. Those happened.
Yep.
A lot of things did shake out as we were concerned with, put it that way.
That was, I think, one of the best games I've watched, maybe since, was it 2011 against the New Orleans Saints.
Okay.
I was there in person for that playoff game where Alex Smith just went off.
Oh, yeah,
And that bootleg run around was right below where we were sitting. That was probably the best game I've ever watched.
Okay.
But this is right there. And, I mean, it was intense. The crowd was phenomenal. Niner faithful showed up. They showed up again yesterday against Arizona.
Yeah.
I think the whole, home field advantage for Levi Stadium thing should be squashed.
Okay.
Because these last two games, I mean, they caused penalties.
It's
they
getting
caused
there,
timeouts.
yeah. It always takes a bad team, new stadium. It takes time. Even
does.
good teams in a new stadium, it always takes a second for the atmosphere to feel the same. Moving into any new ballpark, it just takes a minute when you've had that familiarity of a previous one for decades,
Especially like Candlestick.
Yeah.
But it's going back to last Monday. Yeah, phenomenal all the way. I mean, there's mistakes made on both sides of the ball by both teams. There's great plays made by both teams, and 9 drops.
Yeah, that was the real killer.
9 drops. That killed the team, killed the game, and they still almost won it.
Yeah.
A rookie kicker away, and the Niners would be 10-0.
So they do defeat Arizona for the second time in 3 weeks yesterday, a 36-26 victory over the Cardinals. It really played out similarly to the game from a few weeks ago. It was tight, back and forth for a while. The Cardinals even led this thing 9-0 after a quarter of play, just crazy. And
they were 16-0 in the second quarter.
right, so the before the Niners started to wake up again and dominated the second half. Made some proper adjustments. Deebo Samuel making up for some drops with the 8 catches for 134 yards in this one. Got Kyle Juszczyk back. How do you pronounce that last name?
Juszczyk.
Thank
Or you call him Juice.
Juice. 7 for 63. That was something to see.
Yeah.
And just the defense played well, forced some turnovers, a couple of fumble recoveries. So, did see Kyler Murray do some of the things. He's getting a little better every week, but he got sacked 4 times, and that's something that comes with playing the Niners. He was efficient, not a lot of yards, didn't throw an INT, ran for 67 of them in a score. So dealt with that threat of him again this week, but again a rookie. You're getting into now Jackson with Baltimore, who's gotten that rookie year out of the way, and we're seeing that next step. Also a bigger physical specimen. We look ahead to next week. Your thoughts on dealing with this Baltimore team that's also riding high?
Is Baltimore coming up?
Is Baltimore next? Oh, pardon me. The Saints are next week.
Or is this the Packers?
The Packers are this week.
Packers this week.
Okay.
I'm like,
let me get my
I'm over
weight
here
straight.
I'm hyperventilating. I'm all, man, I don't want to see Baltimore right now.
Let's reorganize. Green Bay comes
Green
to town. And so that's a whole different offense to deal with. That's a little bit more your classical West Coast head-to-head matchup thing going on. Your thoughts on this matchup then?
Very classical, and I think it's very winnable.
Okay.
Now, there's so many factors that are going into this, and it'll take a lot to look at. But yesterday, the Niners had 13 players on the injury report. I mean, who's going to be available next week? That's going to factor into how this game goes. The Packers are coming off a bye, which is, not great news if you're the 49ers. Aaron Rodgers, well and rested, could be a problem. But Aaron Rodgers also, I mean, I don't know. He's beatable. I think he's beatable.
Okay.
And I think with the front four that we rush with, the Niners rush with. I'm not out there anymore. Ever. The Niners.
When I think sidebar. When I think you can say that is when people refer to it by the city name. What do you think, San Francisco, Oakland? What do you think? Well, we can do that. When they say the team, then that's when you'd go with they.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah, of course. And it's something I try to work on. But the four that they rush with, the Niners defense, I think will definitely give Aaron Rodgers some headache. He's not as mobile as he used to. He's not moving around as he used to. He is getting up there in age. He's still a phenomenal quarterback.
Right.
But, I don't know. Of course, as a lifelong Niner fan, I'm going to pick the Niners to win.
Gotcha.
But it's going to be a tough game.
Okay. I think it's also a game that the Niners can win because of the pressure they put on the quarterback. That's kind of the basic gist of it.
Yeah.
It all sort of starts there. Aaron Rodgers is somebody that you have to have pressure up the middle on. I think the Niners have been fine with that. I think they can come from the outside too. I think they'll do enough pocket collapsing, because when Rodgers can roll out, that's when the trouble begins.
When he can roll out with space.
Yeah.
The Niner defensive line. God, now it's going to be stuck in my head. So the Niner defensive line, as big as they are insanely fast at their size. And I mean, we saw, who was it yesterday? I think it was Bosa. No, it wasn't Bosa. Somebody off the end swallowed up Kyler Murray.
Right.
Kyler Murray's fast.
Yeah.
And it was Armstead.
Yes.
Armstead is not small.
No, indeed.
He's 6'8".
Yeah.
And he just swallowed up a little small, speedy Kyler Murray, and so they can get pressure on Rodgers. Rodgers rolls outside and has space. He's dangerous. I mean, he's right there. I mean, Russell Wilson is craftier, but Aaron Rodgers, I think, is better when he's out there, outside of the pocket in space. He's proven it for a lot longer. The key, I think, for this game will be if the Niners can find their run game again.
Okay, gotcha. So that is going to be an issue. Green Bay's pretty healthy right now.
Yeah. Niners
dealing with Breda still being out, Gould. Kittle potentially comes back.
Hopefully.
Got that going for it. And then, let's see, Joe Staley's a maybe. It's really piling up.
It is.
It's really piling up at this point. I think that was a major factor in the Seattle loss, that you can't discount. Happens to everybody, but nonetheless.
Doesn't mean it's not a reason.
Yeah, exactly. So right now it's Niners, I think, favored by 3. The matchup predictor via ESPN has them the 61% favorite to win. On their predictor, Green Bay is 8-2, 3-1 on the road. San Francisco 9-1, 4-1 at home. That's your Sunday nighter coming up. Bab and I are both going to go with the Niners on this due to the ability to rush the passer. He wants to see their run game get going again to feel better about it. I think the Green Bay defense has been subpar to where somebody's going to go off on them.
Yeah, I think so.
They're currently allowing over 400 yards a game right now.
Yes, and
in total. So
Keller Witherspoon should be back.
Yeah,
he played a few snaps yesterday out of necessity with a couple guys going down for a play here and a play there. Hopefully Kittle is back. Emmanuel Sanders.
Right.
He should be a lot healthier.
Yeah.
Going into the game, which we saw yesterday. I can say we because we were watching.
There it is.
Saw yesterday how just special he is for Jimmy. and how he can make tough plays and
Yeah.
tough catches. And man, Debo was snatching chains yesterday, and I think he will be next weekend too.
You need to have one of them. I think the Niner offense can get by without Kittle or Sanders for a while, but you really need one of them to take on some of the better teams of the league.
You know what really stood out to me from yesterday's game against Arizona was how effective a play action still was
Oh, yeah.
without an effective run game.
Yeah.
That just goes to show that, you know, the Niners have played awesome defense and had an awesome run game all season, to the point where teams are still scheming for that run game, because any one of those backs can go off at any time. They
Yeah.
can find a hole, they can find a seam, and all of a sudden they're 45 yards down the field. And just in the second half, the play action pass for a run game that I had 50 yards,
Yeah.
and it's still they bit so hard on the play action. And you know, I don't know if Green Bay will fall into that trap now that they have film looking and seeing how much Jimmy threw.
Yeah.
I mean, Jimmy threw it 45 times yesterday.
Yeah. Which I'm sure isn't the Niners' formula they prefer, but it's good that they can be flexible and malleable and play a different style when they need to in certain weeks. So on the other side of the Bay Area football equation, the Raiders continue a season of just win, baby.
The Raiders.
Just doing enough to beat the Cincinnati Bengals yesterday. So that gets them up to 6-4, technically in a tie with the Chiefs right now, who do play the Chargers tonight in Mexico City.
Go Chargers.
Before they'll then have a bye. I'm curious, is this going to be maybe the most home game like atmosphere the Chargers have had
Ever?
in a while since moving
Moving from
to Los Angeles? Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
It's interesting because Kansas City's not that far from
Right.
Mexico City.
Yeah.
If you think about it logistically.
Right.
Um,
Straight down there.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess there's Charger fans in Mexico. We know there's Raider
Still
fans.
feels like a Raider game if you're gonna. Yeah.
And if you're a Raider fan, you don't support the Chargers.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, I think you don't even fill the seats.
Tough to choose between this, but you'll just side with the standings with
Yeah.
the 6-4 Raiders, who are 5-1 at home all of a sudden right
Yeah.
now. Keep the Bengals winless, the only winless team left in the NFL. But the Bengals had their moments where elements of their success of just a couple years ago would creep back into this game here or there. Their DBs would play well, Mixon would run well. Some of those things would crop back up, but then they'd still revert to
The Bungles.
the Bungles, the incomplete team that they are, and playing this rookie Ryan Finley at quarterback. You know, that's some of that would creep up, which is what leads to it was very just win, baby type of game from the Raiders.
It was, and you know, it's any given Sunday, and
Yeah.
you can't overlook your opponent no matter how bad their record is. I mean, even the Dolphins have won twice this year,
Right.
and they're not even trying to win.
No.
And you know, Mixon's a beast.
Yeah.
Mixon was playing in front of his home crowd ish.
Yeah,
you know, he's
yeah.
from
The Antioch kid, yeah.
Yeah, outskirts of the Bay Area, and sorry, Antioch, you're the outskirts. But he went
Real
off.
tough, yeah.
Like he had
15 for 86, so that's averaging just under 6 a carry with that touchdown, 30-yard long. Yeah.
75 tickets, I think he had for friends and
Okay.
family in
Right
the
on.
stands, and I think that they were sitting at one of the end zones.
Yes, I saw him take a ball over.
Yeah,
that score.
and then he also mentioned that he and his family and friends walked through the tailgate yesterday,
Nice.
the Raiders fans tailgating, and got to say what's up and kind
Yeah.
of hang out and just enjoy the vibe and the atmosphere in Oakland.
Yeah.
And I think that's special. And if you don't think that played into him having a game yesterday where he was having some breakaways, then you're not paying attention. And so it's one of those things. They did just win,
Yeah.
but Derek Carr,
Yeah.
you've completed his first 14 passes yesterday.
Yeah, he ends up 25 of 29, just under 100 at 292, averaging 10 at completion. One touchdown. Had the one INT where maybe one of the few remaining flaws he has comes up where he will make up his mind at the line of scrimmage where he's going. Maybe it was just a
mouth
great...
it.
And maybe it was just a great bit of scouting by the Bengals defensive back, too, based on formation and what he saw. He's like, oh, I know what this play is. Somewhere in between. You never know what that was. It could have been Carr, because sometimes he'll have his mind made up at the line, and he'll throw it anyway. That's when some of his picks will happen. Could have just been a great read by this Bengals defense to go, oh, whenever they put the tight end here and then try to do the end with the receiver, I'm going to jump this thing that they're trying to go to Renfro on. That was the lone mistake he made, really, in this entire game. One other, an overthrow to Waller, I think, at one point. That was kind of it. Otherwise, he was, again, exactly what they needed.
Yeah, and I got to say, I was really impressed. And even his touchdown run,
Right.
and that made it on
Right.
SportsCenter's top 10 this
That
morning. It was
leap,
number
yeah.
10. And I mean, when he jumped, I gasped. I'm like, what are you doing? Like you're
nerve-wracking, right?
looking at what's going to be probably a wild card berth, if not maybe
If
the
they can
division.
hang on, yeah.
And you're diving head first into the end zone and get cracked.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh. But I want to highlight one play in particular.
Okay.
The last couple weeks, I've been hard on Derek Carr, and you have been talking about.
Glad you've acknowledged that.
Yesterday was great. I rewatched it again last night, parts of it, because I wanted to get this play out, and I wanted to highlight it because you had been talking about the synergy between Carr and Gruden.
Sure.
And play design. It's 3rd and 6, and there's like 3.5 minutes left. They're trying to run up some clock. It's a reverse cross route at 3rd and 6. So they put the receiver in motion. Who's the receiver? Jones, Zay Jones. Put him in motion from the outside. He comes into the slot, pauses, and then charges almost like a slant to the middle behind where the line is.
Yeah.
Digs in and digs out for a quick out. And he got lost in the shuffle. Everybody was thinking slant, so the defense was moving that way.
Yeah.
And Carr just easy tossed over. And they weren't able to sustain the drive, but that play right there got him the first down at 3rd and 6.
Yeah.
And it took enough time off the clock to where the Bengals weren't going to have a shot of getting back down the field. And that play design it's genius.
Yeah.
That is the type of genius that John Gruden has shown before, and I think it's now kind of creeping out. And you see his looks on the sideline where he's looking unhappy as he always does, but you can tell that he's a content unhappy.
Feeling a little bit more confident. I'm assuming he had to knock some rust off.
Yes.
As a play caller, play designer, scouter, analysis of how to go at a defense. I'm assuming it was going to take him some time as well too. So Carr, 25 to 29. Josh Jacobs, the rookie out of Bama, the running back, 23 carries, 112 yards. So averaging almost 5 a pop.
Yeah.
Tyrell Williams, 4 for 82. Waller, 5 for 78. So they really spread things around. It's the number 2 tight end. Very West Coast play that scores a touchdown, fakes the block, drags underneath, everything going the other direction, and they find him on the back end of the play wide open.
And Waller's such a physical specimen.
Yeah.
He's going to be great. He's a great addition. Renfro had a fantastic catch down the sideline yesterday. You mentioned Jacobs. This kid's great. Like he's a piece moving forward to Las Vegas. Waller's a piece. I like Renfro. They're going to be good. They're going to be good.
An interception from the rookie out of Clemson, Trayvon Mullen, pretty much put this game away.
I am so happy you mentioned Trayvon Mullen.
Okay.
I wanted the Niners to draft him.
Okay, gotcha.
And I did a lot of research and watched this kid. I don't watch a lot of college football, but I watched some Clemson.
Gotcha, sure.
And I mean, why not? They had
When you're number 1, you're on a lot.
Yeah. And Mullen, it to me was just would have been the perfect corner to line up opposite Richard Sherman this season, and drafting a rookie corner with Sherman still in the locker room.
Yeah.
You couldn't ask for a perfect
Plan
situation.
ahead, yeah.
Plan ahead for that, because Sherman's not going to be around forever, and you can move Mullen to Sherman's side, or however you want to plan it out. But to ice that game and just see him have his first career interception to ice out a game, I thought was just great. It's great for the kid, great for the team to show that they have that weapon now too on defense.
So now the Raiders will go to the Jets. The last road win against the Jets came in 1996 for the Raiders against Rich Kotite's team that itself was on its way to a 1-15 finish. So strangely, Oakland has lost its last 6 games at the Meadowlands complex, including the Giants. Last time they won there, 0-1. They beat the Giants 28-10. 3 touchdowns from Rich Gannon in that game. So that's John Gruden at the helm. And this is going to be a test of going east, even in their good years, even in some of the Jets' most awful years, which it looks like we're in both of those things right now for each franchise. they've had trouble going east and playing at 10 in the morning Pacific time and getting a win. It's been a while. They haven't had a win streak like this since the 2016 team, and so this is going to be even though it's the Jets, still a little bit of a test. Can you shake that the problem that they've had as well of going east in the morning?
I just as a fan, I have gone east to New York when the Niners have gone, and getting up and going to the bar and just being on a West Coast time clock. It's not even easy being a fan.
I know.
Getting up when you're 10 o'clock in the morning, your time.
Yeah.
The game starts at 1. You're like, should I drink? Well, I mean, the answer, of course, is yes. It's 1 o'clock in New York. It's not 10 o'clock. But just as a fan, in waking up in the morning and getting up and getting ready was a challenge. So it's going to be tough. This is going to be probably... I hate must win. I hate big game. I hate all those cliches because every game that's been at Levi's Stadium has been a big game for the past 3 months.
Gotcha.
I mean, going back to preseason, this is a big game. Anyway, it seems like it's been that way. So it's going to be a big challenge for them. And I think, and I hate to say this, but I think their playoff hopes kind of hinge on this one game.
Gotcha.
Because
not getting trapped here.
Not getting trapped. Yeah. The Jet, I mean, any given day, a football team can win.
Right.
We just saw it yesterday with the Bengals. They played way above what their record shows yesterday. Yeah. And you need to go there. You need to show everybody that, hey, I don't care if you're an East Coast team. Yeah. I'm going to get it done. Yeah.
So they need to avoid the trap this week. I think they do just because of this. The way this season is panning out, the just win, baby. Doing enough to get the W. I don't think that Jets can handle this version of this Raiders offense right now if the Raiders aren't subject to jet lag.
And if Carr is this efficient and Jacobs can run even close to what they did yesterday, there's no chance the Jets are winning.
All right, so we've got both the Bay Area teams picking up W's in very different situations. One going very early to the Jets next week and the Raiders, and the Niners getting to be at home on the Sunday nighter. The opposite ends of your spectrum of your day.
I'll have a nice time taking a nap.
Yeah.
Speaking of naps yesterday, the two hyped about quarterbacks yesterday in the early game between Texas
and Baltimore.
Yeah. Boy, Texas didn't really look very good.
No.
And it did not live up to the hype. However, on the flip side of that, Baltimore looked fantastic.
They sure did.
There's going to be a lot to worry about when the Niners face them.
Let's take a little break here on the Blitz. We're going to come back. We're going to chat with Brian Brownfield, Sports Information Director at Menlo University. They just came here to town. Their women's basketball team did to take on Cal Maritime. It'll be the men's team in town taking on Cal Maritime this Wednesday. So we'll chat with him, and then we'll come back chatting baseball as well. That new controversy that it just is growing legs. We'll take a break on the Blitz. Be right back right after this here on 89.5 FM. KZCT, OSCAT Radio in Vallejo.